Hello Sagittarius, welcome to your monthly reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. This reading, by the way, can be used for sun, rising, and moon. It's going to help you through the next 6 to 8 weeks. Let's get straight into the channeled messages. The first one has to do with a role reversal, kind of like one of those movies, like Freaky Friday or something, where the mother and daughter change, places. I got this energy where some of you in a past life were the parent or the caretaker, and in this lifetime, you're the child, but you're still feeling sometimes responsible or like you have to pull all of the pieces together. Spirit's giving you permission this month to not be the person that is fixing everything and really just put the focus on your life. I put the Six of Cups here because it's your inner child getting a chance to have some fun, to be supported, to get their needs met, and really to focus on just enjoying the moment. There comes a point in every child's life where, as a parent ages, we are going to step up to the plate and help them out, and the roles do get reversed. But I'm speaking more to those of you that have always had to maybe, do a little bit more, even though you're younger or you need some assistance on things. So this month in particular, take a step back. Let the other person, especially if they are capable, but they're just used to leaning on you, let them take care of themselves and focus instead on your own endeavors, your own needs. And of course, if help or assistance or opportunity presents itself to you, this is a chance to embrace that, okay? Likewise, if you need some help or assistance, this is the time to ask. Let's move on to the next message that came through. So I saw myself in a storage facility, one of those that you would rent where there's just locker after locker or space after space. And I opened up the doors to one of these storage units, and it was just filled with way too much stuff and boxes and things that I couldn't even identify. And it just felt to me like it was a lot. It was too much. And because it was a storage facility, it's something that people wouldn't always even see. So it was kind of like you're hanging on to something beyond the point which it actually serves a function. We can abstract this. It could be emotional baggage. So you might be trying to hold on to all of this stuff. It's kind of a continuation of what we just talked about. So some of you have been put in a position where you listen a lot to everyone. It may even be a function of your job, like a therapist or a counselor or an advisor. And you're constantly thinking of all of these people in these cases and things like that. But it could just be your family or a friend in your life. And they're putting a lot of that baggage in your sort of headspace, which is the locker. And you don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to fix all of that. So just as we were speaking in the previous slide, you can let that go. And if you need help in letting that go, talking to a therapist or simply putting up some boundaries and limits and saying no, Spirit is saying now is the time to do this. If there's any relationships in your life where you feel like there needs to be closure, now is the time to do that as well. This can also be taken literally where maybe there's too much stuff in your closet or your house, or maybe you have a storage facility like this. And you have to ask yourself, when was the last time I looked in those boxes? Do I really need this stuff? And when you calculate out the cost of how much it costs to rent one of those facilities, oftentimes it's better to donate or sell the things that you're keeping there because you're going to spend more in storage costs than the actual value of that item. So think about that as well. And this could just also be too much clutter energetically around you, too many things on your plate, too many financial sort of obligations and things like that. So clearing out the books across the board would be really advantageous at this point. Create some space, let go. And that's the main message here. The third thing that I saw in dreams this morning was perhaps the most inspiring. I was looking at this space where all I could see were doors as far as the eye could see. And they were all open, all ready for someone to walk in. And I watched as people were starting to put these speakers, like traditional speakers from a stereo, in each and every room. There was a shortage of wires, but other than that, I felt like there was this potential for a message to be spread far beyond the initial sort of expectations. So there are two big takeaways here. First of all, don't underestimate the power of your voice. It has the capacity to inspire, to reach people, and it's basically going to carry more weight than you might realize. So speak up, speak often, speak responsibly. The thing that needs to be done, though, the missing piece, is planning and infrastructure. So in order for that announcement, for that voice, for that communication to take place, the wires needed to be there. And the wires represent like a grassroots sort of campaign or legitimate infrastructure like technology, or possibly like the funding or whatever, the organization. So for those of you working on doing something big, yes, I see it. I love what I see here, in fact, with the world energy, but there needs to be a connective thread. So make sure that you have the planning, the money, the network in place in order to make sure that this not only, launches, but it makes a really, really big splash. Okay? Now is the time to think bigger when it comes to whatever it is that you want to do next. The world is about as expansive and as big as you can get when it comes to the major arcana. And all of the open doors also represent, for many of you, a period where a paradigm shift could be happening. Let's say you've been down on your luck, or there's been a lot of roadblocks, or you've just been frustrated or uninspired. I see things changing. I see doors opening. Take the time to plan and to figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, and that sort of planning is going to pay off in a really, really impactful way. All right, Sagittarius, let's give the cards a shuffle and see what else is in store. Very interesting that as I'm looking at health here, we have the family coming through. We'll talk more about that in a second. But that connects to the familial healing message from earlier. All right. Let's get started with the catalyst message first and foremost. You received the Fox. The Fox card did come through in the reverse state. Let's just talk about this as a totem first and foremost. This is intelligence, cunning, sometimes a little tricky. And basically, one thing that I would say this month, without a doubt, is you can't outfox the fox. So if someone is trying to basically fool you or trick you, you're going to see through that. You have the capacity to see through illusions, and that's a very good thing. The flip side is true as well. If you feel like you can get away with something, this card is keeping it real and saying, no, don't try it. The fox is aware, okay? In many of the sort of animal-based decks that I have, you will see 7 of Swords energy and 5 of Swords having a fox on him because it has that sneaky or kind of cunning energy. So just really lead with integrity, lead with honesty, call out any nonsense if you see it, and trust your wisdom, okay? And most importantly, just again, don't try to get away with something this month. It isn't worth the potential risk that you're not going to, especially with that fox there. It's just not worth it, all right? And just karmically and energetically, it's better to lead by example, okay? But foxes are wise and nimble and cunning, and that can help you in business, in life, and just across the board. So we'll lean into the positive aspects of the fox, and we'll avoid some of the tricky aspects. Let's take a quick glance at all of the cards on the table and just get a sort of feel for what's going on here. I always like to look at these 3 in a diagonal. Hard work with the 9 of Wands, brainstorming and ideation with the 7 of Cups, and healing with the 3 of Swords. That makes a lot of sense. Major changes, possibly a new contract or new love. And by the way, the moon is also connected to that fox-like energy. So just making sure that you clear out any nonsense. We're going to dig a lot deeper into this. We're going to start off with the centermost card, the 6 of Wands. So I love this imagery on this card, you can see what happens here in even like the Rider-Waite-Smith card would have someone in the lead, the cutting edge, the bleeding edge. Sometimes it's a little lonely when you are successful or you're trying something new or you're on the heels of a breakthrough or success because it's unproven, it's uncharted territory. That doesn't mean that it's not exactly where you should be. So even if you're not getting the validation or the indication that everything's okay because this card was reversed, the fact that it is a card of success basically shows me that you're headed in the right direction. A reversal of the Six of Wands can also just be an encouragement to recalibrate your definition or your connection to success. Thinking to yourself, I can do this. I'm doing the best that I possibly can, and I don't need people's permission or applause in order to feel like this is exactly where I need to be. Success can be a sense of fulfillment at the end of the day. It's the ability to make the world a better place, or just feeling like you've done everything that you set out to do. It's not just about title, money, or again, sort of like outward appearances. This is really more of an internal feeling, and that's really what the card is asking you to focus on, okay? And when you lead with the heart, when you lead with integrity, other people are going to see that integrity and that passion and that great heart, and that's going to pull in like-minded energy. All right, let's take a look at the card that's crossing the center. We have Four of Pentacles. So this is modifying that success card, and it's saying the thing that you can focus on right now is letting go of things in your life that really aren't adding up in the big picture. They're not taking you forward when it comes to growth or development. They're not adding fulfillment to your life. Maybe they've served their purpose, but for some reason, kind of like what I was looking at in that storage facility, you're hanging on to them. This is less than your worth, less than your time. It's basically showing where the deficit is. So I also like to refer to this as the devil you know. So sometimes we will stay in a relationship or a job or, keep someone in our life simply because it's more comfortable to have the space filled than to have it empty, than to hold space for something that could be more advantageous, more successful, a better match. Okay? So letting go, that's one thing. Letting go of things that just do not serve the highest good or highest interest. There could be someone in your life that does not reciprocate what you invest energetically. So in a relationship, this is someone who is not forthcoming, who is not necessarily the first one to pick up the phone or invite you. You feel like you're doing the lion's share of the work on this as well. So give them space. You don't have to necessarily cut them out of your life, but give them space to step up. And if they don't call you after a few weeks or a few months, then they're sending you a signal that they weren't really invested anyway. So sometimes things will solve themselves like that. But the person may come back and say, well, why haven't you contacted me in a while? Just say, well, I'm always the one doing it. I wanted to see if you were invested. And then you can have a conversation about that, about expectations and things of that nature. Now, when it comes to investments, negotiations, and jobs, this could be another person in your life that's trying to get more than they should, and you're seeing through that. The fox is not going to be outfoxed this month, and you're just going to bring that to attention and say, I'm happy to continue working on this, and I like working with you, but I need more support, I need more money, whatever it is that's missing, just let them know what's necessary before you continue. As we take a look at the deep past, we have a card of hard work and perseverance, the Nine of Wands. This is an unusual interpretation, but it's actually going to help you figure out where the block is. And it's a mental block for many of you. Basically something where you're thinking, I can't do this, it won't happen, or maybe it's just giving up. All of this can happen right when you're on the precipice of success. The center card was none other than the Six of Wands, but it was Six of Wands in reverse. So you may be expecting something to happen right here, right now, or you might be expecting it to happen in a certain way, shape, or form. And this card is saying, don't give up and don't sort of overthink what success needs to look or feel like. Like we said, you can recalibrate it. Here's your traditional card. In this one, we can see a person that's a little worse for the wear. They have that bandage around their forehead, but they're standing their ground. They're not going to give up. What you can do right here, right now, when you're watching this video is to make sure you've done something for self-care today. Get enough sleep, talk to someone that you love, lean on someone in your life that maybe has offered up their hand in support. We actually have the Two of Cups here in Hopes, Fears, and Opportunities. Someone that you trust so that you don't have to carry this burden alone. because the next step in this one is the Ten of Wands, and you need to have that sort of renewal, that sense of, I can do this. We're almost at the finish line. So a little bit of self-care is going to be key. That's going to get you out of I really feel like this is mental block or mental fatigue that's creating a physical block, or physically your body is just sort of saying, I'm done now. I need to go to sleep. I need to rest. So take a short break, recalibrate emotionally and mentally, and then you're very close to the finish line. Don't give up. I really love the traditional one. This one is representing the challenge, and this is the solution. Stand your ground and don't give up. We have a really powerful card here in the recent past, and the key is it is in the past. So we have a card of celebration and joy, and we have a skeleton trying to drink in or soak in that memory. I just recently pulled this on a weekend collective, and I want to echo the interpretation I gave there, which is we shouldn't try to relive the glory days or to chase a previous high moment in our life, whether that was, something from high school, something from, an old relationship, or something that you're just really proud that you did in your life. That in and of itself is its own singular event, and it does not have to be cloned and, sort of restamped across your life. This moment is about looking right here and right now and focusing on something new, creating something new, not trying to relive, recapture the past. Lightning only strikes once, right? Sometimes in a certain place or area. So you really want to focus on putting that energy into something new, exciting, and fulfilling. This is a card also saying that it's worth taking a break and celebrating your current successes, having some fun if you haven't done that in a while, if you haven't taken a vacation. The Nine of Cups is also one of extremes. So you may find this month that there's some really amazing moments, there's some super challenging moments, and they seem to keep zigzagging. There's not a lot of, center, moderate, neutral moments. So your challenge is going to be in really looking at those highs and lows as just points on a spectrum, not indicative of, having to over celebrate or over worry. And that's pretty much everything that I would say with this. Focus on the present, not the past, and try to take everything in stride and don't overreact, okay? In the crowning position, we have one of the best cards you can get in the major arcana. It's misunderstood, but it's really good in this position. It's change, death, renewal. So let's look at the traditional illustration. I like this for one element, which is time. Time is always marching forward, and it's not about changing the past. Everything that we're looking at today is present and future oriented. You learn from the past, but you focus on now because today creates tomorrow. So you are changing your future as we speak. The fact that you decided to click on this thumbnail, watch it until this point, and now you're applying this to your life, you're now changing everything. And that's exciting, right? Especially if you're stuck, or if you want to make even more progress, because I had all those speakers coming through in the channeled messages. So you have the capacity to either turn it around or amp it up a notch, and that's what this is about. Change is a constant. This traditional illustration I like because we see everybody, from rich to poor, young to old, high status to no status, is subject to the energy of death or transformation. So it's not a question of how or if something needs to change. It's just when you're going to embrace the change. Some of you have already made your mind up that you're ready for something or you're done with something. So all I have to sort of like nudge out to you, all of you that are watching, is it's time. It's time to take that step. You know what I'm talking about. You know that you're ready. You tuned in today so that you could get validation on that, okay? We can also take this at face value. This can represent the end of something. The end of something that you loved a lot, a job, a relationship. Some of you may even be dealing with death or loss in your life. It makes a lot of sense because as we look at your outcome, it's a card of healing and letting go of pain or letting go of something that mattered. But ultimately, it's going to open up new opportunities. So embracing change and allowing healing to set in, they're two pivotal moments here. Literally, that's where your head's at. That's where the outcome is. Let's not skip all the way to the end. Let's look at where the opportunity lies this month in the near future. In near future, we have a card of creation, brainstorming, bringing things to the next level. Often we would see a bunch of cups in the sky where it's sort of like, maybe I want to try this, maybe I want to try that. It feels like Many of you have already done some of that, and it's just a matter of, again, embracing the decision that has been made. Some of you may also be dealing with really curious, maybe even nosy people around you. Why did you do this? What about that? How are you going to deal with this? It's all of these questions coming to you, and it can feel discombobulating or overwhelming. You actually have the answer on how to deal with it if we look at the traditional Nine of Wands here, and it's just to stand your ground and say, this is what's right for me, and not really feel like you have to give too much of an explanation. The only thing that I would say with the Seven of Cups is sometimes we can get confused if we have too many options in front of us. So whether you're trying to convince someone, if it's sort of like a presentation, or if you're trying to research something, this shows the confusion that's often a part of the Seven of Cups. It's sort of like, well, I like them all. I don't know which way to go. So give yourself deadlines, limit how much you're going to take in, 2 or 3 sources, and then move forward. It's good to have some of those boundaries and limits, and that's going to keep you on track this month. Brainstorming and ideation are 2 really positive elements of this, so you may just find that a lot of cool ideas are coming your way. Make sure that you give yourself time to record that and then hopefully act on that as well. Let's take a look at how you're coming through. You are represented by the Moon card. Traditionally, if we look at this Rider-Waite-Smith illustration, it shows instinct and it shows the potential to explore a new path. There are some things to be aware of here. One of them could be someone or something that's trying to get away with something. We saw that in the form of the fox here. So if someone is trying to test your limits, maybe even trying to do something that they shouldn't, you're going to speak up, you're going to hold your ground and basically say, that's not what we talked about, right? 9 of Wands. Or you could approach them and say, what's going on? Help me understand how we got here. So basically call it out, make sure that it is what you think it is, and then you really want to make sure that it's cleared up. This also represents the intersection of dealing with what you were trained to do and what your bones are telling you, like, I got to do this. And that's where you really have to follow your instincts. What we see going on in this card is someone acting behind the scenes. So I really do think it is important if somebody is testing limits that you let them know that you see them and let them know what you need or what's expected. That way they'll focus, their tomfoolery in a different direction if necessary. The Moon is a powerful card too, by the way. It can represent the pull that you have, the influence that you have on others. This is persuasion, folks. So if there's something that you want to see come to fruition, we have this sort of, witch coming through on this card. She's in touch with her magic. So this is a chance for you to basically pull people in with passion, with ideas, with also your own special sauce, whatever that is, charisma. And it can be a very compelling energy as well, if we look at it in the highest interpretation possible. What's going on in the environment? Well, we have the Page of Swords. I like this because it's actually, a knocker on a door. So for some of you, there's an invitation in the mail, in the email. There could be a phone call that you receive that is opening up a door. This is lovely. This is really connected to what I was seeing in dreams. Some of you also are being invited to reach out. What good is a door unless you knock on it or open it? So opportunity is waiting. Opportunity wants you to be knocking. It's not necessarily always the other way around. So be ready and willing to be an initiator as well as a receiver, because pages do both. And it looks like things could be working in both directions. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to open a door and ask. You never know until you ask. Pages are encouraged to listen, to tune in, to consume. It's not just about talking. So be open and in the flow of communication, and great things will happen this month. For some of you, it could be an invitation for partnership, friendship, or even for a business opportunity. The Two of Cups generally, though, is something, a matter of the heart. So friendship and love definitely coming through. And if you're looking for love, or if you're trying to heal a relationship this month, whether it's a partner, or I talked about familial healing, all of that is possible. There could be unexpected second chances in love, Some of you may have just thought, I'm not focused on this, I don't care. And meanwhile, the universe says, too bad, I have something for you. And I'm saying that in a playful way. It could be something really, really good. And the universe just says, you're more ready than you think. So be open to partnerships in all shapes and forms this month. There could be something beautiful and amazing coming through for you. All right, we have in the outcome a card that shows a lessening of grief, letting go of an old wound, or again, it could be a familial sort of thing. It's also just an encouragement to take care of yourself. Some of you are the healer for everyone else. Make sure that you're paying attention to your own health, your own heart, for sure, when we're looking at this. Three of Swords can indicate things that we all deal with, like blood pressure or cholesterol, or also even just general cardiovascular health. So as you age especially, it's going to be important to take care of your body. And when we look at health, we can go a little deeper into that. Generally, it's about overcoming a disappointment or a setback, though. So this is saying there's a lot of other doors of opportunity knocking. They're right there in the environment. And there's a chance for new friendship and new opportunity, but you have to release something in order for that to happen. If you're hanging on to an old relationship that isn't, kind of giving you what you need or vice versa, then this takes longer to come in, all right? Let's go ahead and expand this a little further since we're already touching on these areas to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll start off with your health, your mind, body, and spirit. And let's see what the Oracle card has to say here. So I mentioned earlier about familial healing. Let me pull that card up while we're talking. So this is a chance for many of you to take a look and do a little bit of auditing when it comes to existing relationships and think to yourself, is this really the role that I signed up for? Whether it is a parental sort of thing or a relationship one, if you're stepping in and you're kind of having to always be the healer, the boss, the teacher, the parent, it might be time to step back and let the other person, do their part as well, okay? So I just wanted to remind you that familial healing was a part of that, and we have this here. Some of you are also seeking out a new or chosen family. I talk about this a lot on the channel. I was just having lunch with one of my best friends in LA today, and I said, I see you and talk to you more than I do my family. And for that reason, I consider you family. And it's a mutual sort of feeling there. So when we get older, you realize that those are the ties that matter the most. Why? Because you choose to be with those people. And after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, those people are even closer than a cousin or sometimes even a sibling. So take some time and develop your chosen family as well. And don't take it personally if the blood relatives don't always come through, because they are meant to serve a certain purpose, which is give us the foundation to enter into this world, teach us some lessons at the beginning. But how much we invest as we get older, that's a choice that it's a two-way street. If they're not investing, it's not necessarily all on you to fix that. Focus on where the energy is and let it go where, people are maybe diverging and going on their own paths, okay? The wolf spirit, wolves like a pack, right? So I feel like some of you are seeking the pack or your chosen family, and that's my main message there. Okay, let's take a look at this from just general health. That was a little bit relationship oriented, but how we connect with others definitely does affect our general health. So sometimes there's overlap between this and love or this and wealth. So be that as it may, let's see what's going on here. Some of you have had a really close health call here. So you may have had a brush with death. You may have had a wake-up call where the doctor said, if you don't change this, this will happen. And you say, no problem, I'm going to change it. So I mentioned earlier, it's not a question of if you should change it, but when. Now is a great time to make necessary movement and change so that you can live a happier and healthier life. Of course, you're going to work with your healthcare professionals to figure out how that works for you. But this is the month to initiate change. That's what we see here with this. If we look at the 9 of Cups here in the recent past, this also represents the need this month to avoid extremes, overworking, over drinking, over exercising, worrying too much. And to that extent, I also think that concentration and focus could play a challenging role this month too. So just taking it one step at a time. If you don't have a meditation practice, or if you haven't started sort of like an exercise routine, this is a great month to do more of that, because it's going to ground and center you so that you have more to give and that there's less distraction going on. Let's see what else is going on here. If we look at the traditional Nine of Wands here, this can also show that you might be pushing yourself too far in a given direction. Just like I was saying, if you're working too much or exercising too much, sometimes it can lead to strain or fatigue. Another area where you might be experiencing some challenges could be even with like migraines, for those of you that are prone to that. So definitely take care of yourself and focus on that if it arises. As we take a look at the Moon card, this often rules pregnancy and fertility. And there's actually some favorable energy coming through here with the Page of Swords and the Two of Cups. We see a healing card. So if you've had challenges, things could turn around this month with respect to that. And the Three of Swords, as I said earlier, can have some health indications where you really want to focus on taking care of your heart, both from a diet and an exercise perspective, getting necessary tests and basically making sure that you are watching out for the heart. But figuratively and more traditionally, it is about doing whatever you need to heal or get past a setback. So a lot of times that simply would be therapy or giving things time. The next card is the Four of Swords, and it shows that time may not heal everything, but it does heal a lot, and it does help you start to see new opportunities in your life. Overall, I have to say I quite like what we see here. The main thing is, are you ready and willing to take the first step towards change? Okay? Let's go ahead now and move on from health to wealth, which is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. This is so powerful and so appropriate. We have Archangel Gabriel coming through saying, speak your truth. And right below it, it says, thank you, Gabriel, for helping me speak with integrity. What did we talk about earlier? The fox. The fox, especially in reverse, is saying, don't try to get away with something. Lead by example. Be honest. Hold others to the same sort of energy. And as I talked about with that beautiful image, here we go here. I'm going to pull it back up so we can talk about it. I saw that many of you may have more than one door of opportunity opening, and you have the ability for your voice to be heard. And for some of you, this is just an encouragement to share the idea, to speak it into being. So if there's something, a good idea, a good intention, a dream, a wish, a desire, you know, the page literally is right in front of the door here, and it's saying that communication can actually create action and movement in your life. All right, let's get a little more specific now. We're going to focus on those who have a job, those that are seeking a job, and then I'll look at students and retirees last. If you're in a job right now, the first thing that comes through is stagnation, a breakthrough, or a need to change. What I just talked about absolutely plays a role here. If you are stuck or if you're ready for a change, it's important to, one, explore and see what's out there. This is a door that wants to be opened. It's also important for you to initiate a conversation. Ask the important questions. Seven of Cups is about saying, well, what about this? Or I'm interested in doing this. How can we make this happen? Not can we make it, but how can we make it? Be powerful in your communication, as this card said. So use affirmative words and create a narrative such that there's like no other way but to proceed forward. Remember, your center card was Six of Wands, so success is in the mix here. It's just a matter of asking a question, calling out any inadequacies or lack, speaking about anything that really isn't meeting your expectations, and then reminding people, especially if it's going to be a persuasive conversation, just really say, I'm committed. We've talked about this before. Let's set it into motion. You can even be very affirmative rather than asking questions. See what they do. It's worth a shot. And for those of you where you try it and it doesn't work, you've been given what you need to know that it's time to move on. And basically that person's showing their cards, and it's the Four of Pentacles. It's not enough to continue, and you guys can stick around for the next portion, which is going to be seeking a job. But for everybody else, let's say things are actually going well. There's a different narrative that is going through this particular Celtic Cross. There could be a merger, a takeover, or you might be stepping into a new position. Change, that's all that death sometimes indicates. That's a lot to compute. You might have new questions. You may feel a little overwhelmed. Some days are great. Some days are a little bit less stable. But you are set up for success. Don't be afraid to reach out. You don't have to do this all on your own. And you may need more assistance at the beginning stage. Sometimes people just assume that you're fine. Ask for help if you're not given enough training, support, or resources. You have allies. We see it here in the Two of Cups. There's more opportunities, and this is why people have possibly put you into that position. And they just want you to, they're testing your instincts. That's part of this too. So sometimes a supervisor or an organization is just trying to see how far you will kind of go down a certain path before either stepping up into a leadership position, asking a question, saying no. So trust your instincts and they won't lead you astray. The fox is watching, and I think you're set up for success because it's the center card. So just don't second guess your instincts this month. If you're not happy with something, this is the month to create necessary change, because we spend too much time in our day jobs. If they're not bringing the necessary satisfaction, then you've got to find a way to either create balance in other aspects of your life or make the change happen at work, okay? At the center is success. So I feel really strongly, I should say, that you can exit this month on a really good note, but it's again a question of how you're going to change, when you're going to change, and if you're willing to let some things go that you don't like. Focus on where you can really make a splash this month, and that is important. Definitely speaking up is being rewarded, and good communication, speaking with integrity. One more time, let's look at this caption. I talked about at the very beginning the fox. The fox needs to lead with integrity because people are watching and people are paying attention. So don't try to get away with something, and call something out again if you see something that shouldn't be happening. Otherwise, I think things are headed in a good direction, and you could make a new ally this month. Make sure you're saying yes to any sort of networking events, or if there's an office party or something like that, or someone's celebrating their success, go there. You could make an important connection, okay? Let's now transition from those that already have a job into those that are seeking employment. Here's what I see for job seekers this month. I've been seeing death coming through either at the center or maybe in the top position here a couple of times in different signs. So know that it's not singular or unique to you. What that means is the initial part of the month could be a little bit slower than you expect. What I like and what I just talked about here for those that are already employed actually holds true for you too. It's a really good time to network and reach out to others. This is where you're going to find success. So absolutely, this could be parties, this could be official events, this could be just getting involved in an online community. However you can create that network. That was the missing piece. If you remember, I saw all the speakers with no cords. Just find those human connections in everyday life, and you're going to find something from a person that you know, from a colleague that you used to work with, etc. So that's your main focus here if you're kind of hitting a brick wall with your traditional approaches. As we take a look at the card that was crossing the Six of Wands, the Four of Pentacles is reminding you to drive a fair but hard bargain. So when you're at the negotiation table for a job, or when you're looking for even potential jobs, make sure that you're not settling for something that is less than what you need to pay the bills or less than your value. At the negotiation table, you definitely have some wiggle room, but when you're dealing, you can even see it. Sometimes the Four of Pentacles is a little greedy. You're not going to be able to get as much as you want, but it is worth the conversation. It's worth pushing. You'll be happy that you did at the end of the day. So make sure that you definitely try to negotiate more when it comes to benefits or compensation or growth opportunities, etc. I think it's time to go down a completely different path. Death can also mean, of course, change, renewal, and rebirth. So some of you may be deciding, you know what, I've done all of this. I'm ready to explore some new things. And that's where you can not just speak your truth, but create something that doesn't exist. Now we're kind of getting into entrepreneurial energy. So you may decide, I have an idea. I think I might need some support in the form of leadership, funding, or just I want to make sure that I have someone there to help me do the work. So you don't have to do this alone, but try to create a business plan, a pitch, a concept, because that is exactly what this card is all about. Speak your truth, speak it into existence, and find other people that have the same level of integrity that you do so that you can trust them, because this would be your livelihood in that case. And this can be a way to have greater fulfillment and joy so you're not stuck in the Three of Swords energy, okay? The last message for job seekers is to get more specific. The Seven of Cups is a card that is expansive but a little vague. So when it comes to the way that you might be presenting yourself, whether it's in an interview, on a resume, or on the web, on like a portfolio or even your website, it's much better to just be concise. I feel like there's too many pictures, too many words, too much information to parse. So edit however it is that you're putting yourself out there so that there's less, but it's more memorable, it's more impactful, and it's going to create the desired effect there. Let's change gears now and take a look at students. Change. We have here some of you maybe graduating, because this can represent ends and beginnings. Some of you have decided to change or refocus your major. Some of you are just feeling a little bit stuck. In any of these junctures, what you really want to do is keep an open mind and explore all opportunities, knock on all those doors and see what's out there. I love that success is at the center. So whatever decision you make, it does feel like you're going to land on your feet. I think the important thing here is to really focus on what you want. This Three of Swords is what someone else wanted. Release that. Focus on what brings you joy. I love the Two of Cups here. It's a great time to make good alliances and networks or establish new networking opportunities. Some of you may be making new friendships, or even you might find love here in the middle of all of this work that you're doing. The main thing that I see is time, energy, and money seems like it's crunched a little bit. So make sure you're not overextending yourself in any of those avenues. Otherwise, you're actually tracking well. This is showing that something will come to completion, but we want a feeling of ease. This is feeling sometimes a little bit trapped or exhausted. This one needs a little bit of time to recalibrate. If you haven't taken a break in a while, or a semester off or something like that, it feels like you just need a little bit of time to yourself to rebuild and refocus. Let's shift the focus to retirees. As I look at hope spheres and opportunities, as well as where your head is at, it feels like many of you are ready to make some new friendships, to connect with some new people in your life, and you're very aware of limits on time, right? As we get older, that's a finite thing. We don't know where it's at, but we know that we don't have forever. So it looks like one of the priorities right now is in people, making new friendships, maybe putting more energy into love or into family, and possibly finding someone new, finding someone that has that same sort of energy as you do. So absolutely, we've got that. Opportunities knocking for you, and vice versa. You could create new things this month. Just because we're retired doesn't mean that things stop. You can still launch a business. You can still have public speaking opportunities if you want to. I see a very rich and vibrant community and connection around you, especially with that Two of Cups. But the thing is now, it should feel like it's giving back to you. If you're giving more than you're getting, then it's time to sort of recalibrate where you're putting your time and your energy. Keep your mind active. That's the main thing here. Seven of Cups, whatever it is that sparks curiosity, that expands knowledge, that gets you inspired, excited, all of that. It does not have to be school, folks. It can just be anything that makes you feel aware, alive, and keeps the cogs in the, in your mind moving. That's great. And who knows what the timeline is. In my own experience, even just with my family, like my father had a lot of challenges in his health. He wasn't ready to check out until he was ready to check out. And he surprised doctors and everybody. And you never know what's possible when it comes to your own lifespan. So don't focus so much on that. Focus instead on what you're going to do with the time given. And know now that the choices are more important. That's the only thing that you should really focus on. Is if it isn't worth your time, if you don't feel like you're getting something back, it gets easier the older you are just to simply say no, okay? Let's focus now on relationships, love with a capital L. This can be all levels of relationships. The oracle card for this one is about grounding yourself. We have Gaia Gateway Activation. Before we get too far into this card, Gaia is Earth, and it's about grounding yourself. And what we see here are two cards that are very not grounded, the Nine of Cups and the Seven of Cups. Nine of Cups, like I said, is ups and downs. The Seven of Cups can be someone else's mental energy kind of wrapping around you and you getting lost in that equation. So when we're looking at relationships, it's about making sure that your feet are firmly planted on Gaia or Earth. Now, here are the areas where things could be growing or changing in love and relationships. Learning experiences. You may be finding like-minded individuals that have the same thirst or hunger for knowledge as you, and it could be a sporting sort of thing, artistic venture, traditional school, or just someone that's curious about the same things or passionate about the same things that you are. Some of you are either going to be teachers or students, wisdom transmission. So this is a great time to go to school, to seek out mentorship, to be a mentor, all of that. And then we talked at great length about Earth intelligence. This is really about grounding things. And maybe some of you are environmentally minded, but I really think this is more about keeping your feet on the ground and not letting someone else's emotions sort of upheave you or upend you. Okay, we're going to break this into 3 major categories: those in a relationship, seeking love, or happily single. If you're in a relationship, change is the center of everything. I mean, there's a common theme this month. Change is going to touch everything. So let's say you're not married. The Death card and the Page of Swords and the Two of Cups can indicate a proposal, right? For some of you, if you've been in a relationship for a while, we see that it could be exiting here with the Death card and the Three of Swords. And if you're in a successful relationship, there could be some healing. It has to either go deeper or you're going to move in a new direction. Those are the two sort of opportunities for you. So it's really a question of how happy you are, if you're really feeling that sense of equity and fulfillment. If it's not there, these 2 cards are suggesting that you really have to think how much more you're willing to put into this. I talked earlier about the familial thing. I think it also hits here in relationships. If you are constantly playing teacher, healer, or mentor, and the other partner never reciprocates, it's their turn this month to kind of step up and show that they're willing to do some work, right? So that's all I have to say on that. For successful relationships, you're navigating change. Maybe a loss of someone in the family, maybe a loss of a job, maybe a big breakthrough, because death can be good as well. But what it means for the 2 of you is there's some questions, there's some recalibrating that's going on. Success could mean a change in also like where you're living, or again, maybe what you can do with or for each other. So you just have to kind of look at that and make sure that you both have the same goals and interests. Communication is here, and I like that. The door is, it's just a matter of like using the active listening and active communicating skills here. As long as you're doing that, you're great. The only thing that I see as a potential to kind of like create a sliver in this relationship, or a wedge, I should say, these 2 cards represent someone trying to get away with something or a secret. You've just really got to talk about things this month. Honesty and integrity. As long as it's there, you can get through anything, you can heal, especially if you're going through a challenging moment. It can bring you closer. Okay. For those of you that are looking for love, can you find it? Yes, we already talked about that. It could be a water sign, since we've got the Moon card here. It could also be a past life connection, karmic relationship. Remember what I said, though, this person may be looking to you as a parent or a teacher, or they want to be fixed. And you really want to see one another on an even playing field, because that's just going to be more satisfactory in the long run for both of you. So yeah, I'm getting strong water energy, past life connections, a little bit of a power struggle, or, what's the better word? A maturity struggle there. But if you can overcome that, it feels like there's a lot to love. I think the main thing for you is to let the dust settle on any changes that you might be initiating, and make sure that you've done necessary healing in your life as well. Vice versa. Some of you might be on a, basically you're on a rebound, or the partner's on a rebound. So you just want to make sure that you know what you're getting into. Slow and steady, I think, is the key to success here. And for those that are happily single, good for you, first and foremost. All the things that I was talking about with retirees, I think also comes through for happily single, because you're going to have more energy to forge new relationships. You are going to have more energy to start something new. This Page of Swords is taking an idea and running with it, and basically allowing for new projects, new endeavors to take root. So I like that. I think the main thing for you is there's so much going on, lots of ideas, lots of emotions. So the grounding energy is, what are you going to do with the ideas? How are you going to deal with some of these higher or lower emotions so that they don't get in the way of things? great capacity for change and movement this month across the board. Let's go ahead now and look at the Destiny card. We have the gem, multifaceted. There's really no wrong way to look at this card. Whenever we see a gem, it is about how much you're going to show to someone else. So we only see certain facets of a ring, of a finely cut gem from any angle. So this is a chance to let people know you are not a one-trick pony. You can do a lot of different things. And if you're willing and ready to show the depth of your character and also like all the different skills that you have, I feel like you can really make an amazing impact this month. So look at it from a multifaceted approach, whatever it is that you're doing. Let other people see you from that multifaceted approach. And I think that there's more than meets the eye, let's put it that way. You could be the diamond in the rough. It just takes a little bit of time and effort to put a shine on that. All right, let's go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into the expanded portion here of Sun, Rising, and Moon sign. We're gonna see how all of this is playing out here for you in the month ahead. All right, so Sun, Rising, and Moon, all positive cards. Let's look at Sagittarius Sun. We have Queen of Cups, and that's going to nicely connect with the Two of Cups. Partnership, love, creativity, warmth, and compassion. These are the keys to your success. Other people are looking at you and thinking, there's a lot to love. There's a lot to want to connect with this month, okay? So let people see the softer side of your personality. And again, maybe the more vulnerable side that you don't always show. So turn that facet around and show that lens of yourself. Intuition and creativity coming through in a loud and beautiful way with that card as well. Moving on to Rising sign, we have 10 of Cups. Also a nice connection to the Two of Cups. So if you stick with a relationship, take your time, work through any challenges, we are seeing cards that show a return on that, as long as the partner is reciprocating. This can be love, this can be marriage, this can be expansion of family, a new child, a new pet. This is also your ability to meet the chosen family that we talked about earlier, people that just, as you get older, it can be best friends, new energy in your life in that respect, okay? Love what I see here. And you could also be building something for the next generation too, for those of you that want to make an impact and make the world a better place. For Moon sign, we have the Three of Wands in reverse. This is a unique Three of Wands because as we look out at the shore, we don't see the ships. In the traditional card, you can see the ships coming in. This does not mean that they're not there. It means you might need to turn to the right, to the left, or look in a different direction. A reversed Three of Wands could simply indicate nostalgia, focusing on what worked before rather than what works now. So that's the main message. You can do what you want to do, but it could take a slightly different shape or form, and you might have to go into a different space in order to meet that opportunity. It's happening, but you have to be flexible, and it doesn't look like it did in the past. And we talked a lot about recalibrating what success is to you. This is part of it. What was successful before won't necessarily be successful again. You have to keep changing and moving with the times. Let's go ahead now and take a look at one final question that you might have for me. It can be anything that hasn't yet been answered. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what the universe has to say with respect to that question. We have two cards, and I'm going to honor that. So Queen of Wands and Four of Cups. Let's talk about it. The Queen of Wands, she's one of the ultimate boss cards. So in a yes-no sort of question, it's a yes. The caveat, because we have a card beneath it, is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups, much like I was just talking about, is missing a blessing. Sometimes we are so focused on what someone else is doing or what we thought we would be doing that we miss that ace in the sky, the top cup there. Usually the universe is providing us a different option or opportunity. So you've got this. The Queen of Wands is one of the most capable court cards you can get when it comes to business management and just being an amazing boss. But you have to be able to see things as they truly are, being present, being open, and not getting frustrated. Four of Cups is the sort of fly in the ointment, the thing that is going to take you out of the power, which is why can't I have that? Or why isn't this happening now? Or why me? Or instead of saying, well, what can I do about this? Or what's the silver lining? Or how else can I approach this? So think outside of the box. Again, we're really looking not so much at the past or at expectations, but at here, now, and tomorrow. That's where you can truly make a difference and make a splash. That, my friends, is the end of this reading, and I just want to say thank you so much. Before we wrap up though, do me a favor, please like and subscribe if you did enjoy this. I know you hear that from every creator, but it actually helps. It helps me know that this made a difference. It also helps the channel find new people out there using the algorithm. So thank you for doing your part. It means a lot. You can also follow me on social media. It's my full name on all major platforms. Remember, however, I do not offer any sort of private readings or nor do I use any sort of direct messages. So if you see that, please block and report. And thank you so much. I always like to keep things safe out there. If you want to show support, you can do it right here through an official channel by giving a super sticker, super chat, or becoming a member. And thank you in advance for anybody that did that, but also thanks to everybody just for showing up here. Would not be here without your love and support, so I just want to extend some gratitude and wish you all the best. I'll see you soon.